recording here.
Give it to the people, spread it across the country. Here we go back, this is the moment, tonight is the night, we'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us, like the ceiling can't hold us.
Marissa Marshall on Facebook from Homedale tuning in. Very well. Princeton. Okay, I think it's time for the music to stop and for the show to get on the road. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time to learn about Soci, your all-in-one social media platform. And I want to introduce today's speakers and people behind the scenes. You have Brooke Wexler, who's our social media specialist. She's going to be monitoring the Q&A. So I would encourage you to, if you have questions, go into the Q&A box on Zoom. Facebook people, you're out of luck, okay, because you're not on Zoom. So you're going to have to hold your questions. But please do not use the chat for questions. Use the Q&A for questions, and we'll respond in the background. And I want to introduce Daniel from BHHS, HSF franchise. And he's going to kick it off, I believe. And Jenny Robinson is here. She's a Soci customer success lead. Is that right, Jenny, your title?
That's right.
Close enough, right? So they're going to take us through Soci and the value it brings to build a brand online and social media. So me and Brooke are going to be in the background. We're here, but Daniel and Jenny, feel free to dive in and call on me when needed for the stuff that we talked about, Daniel. So take it away.
All right, thanks, Rajiv. Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Schoonover. I'm a solution strategist at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So at corporate, I work for the franchisor. And with me today, we have Jenny Robinson. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Jenny.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. I'm really excited to show you the Soci platform. I'm the strategic account manager that supports the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services account with Soci. And I'm ready to help you learn how to use this tool to grow and connect with your audience in social.
Thank you, Jenny. And just a little background on me. So I handle the relationship that we have with Soci. I also handle marketing resource and our relationship with Chalk Digital. I handle a lot of different relationships as a solution strategist at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So today we're going to focus on Soci specifically. Our agenda for today is the introduction, which we're doing right now. Then we'll just go over some general information about how to get to Soci, what Soci is. Then I'll hand it off on to Jenny, where she'll do a system demo. We'll answer questions and everything at the end, or we'll try to answer them throughout today's session. Like Rajiv said, we'll be monitoring questions within the Q&A section of Zoom. So ask the questions in there, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So with that, let's just get started with my first slide here, talking about where you get to Soci for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So what you do is you need to get to Resource Center. Rajiv, you said there was some specific way your team gets to Resource Center.
Yes. So I want to share, if you don't mind stopping really quickly, I want to share and show you where to search for in ACE. So you're all aware of what we put together in preparation for this. So in our ACE intranet, you type in Soci. This is some resources that we put together. It's under digital marketing. So she has a link, and it's a simple doc that talks about some setup stuff that some of you might need that Jenny may reference, like two-factor authentication must be set up. It's requirements from Facebook and Instagram. These are links directly that teach you how to do it. And to access Soci, obviously you go into Resource Center under digital marketing, BHHS Resource Center, and you'll be dropped into here. Many of you are familiar with this screen. You click social media, and then there's Soci. So this document is available for frequently asked questions that are these top 6 ones, and how to access as well. And I'm going to stop the share, and that's available right now. If you type in Soci, and I see that many of you have already done that. You should wait for after this webinar, but that's okay.
Right. Thanks, Rajiv. So you guys should see my slide again.
Yep.
Okay. So just like Rajiv was saying there, you access Soci via Resource Center. You click on the social media resource tile. You'll see there are 2 options for social media resource tools here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. There's ACE Social and there's Soci. We're going to specifically focus on Soci today. So one thing I do want to mention before you even jump into Soci, just as a good best practice here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, for all the marketing tools that are powered via Resource Center, we always do suggest that you make sure your profile data within Resource Center is up to date. Make sure your photo's in there, your name's correct, your phone number, email address, all those bits and pieces that are part of your profile in Resource Center, which can be accessed up in the top right corner where your name exists. All that data in there powers different little bits and parts of everything we provide the network. So like your photo gets populated in marketing resource, your name and email address, those contact bits get populated in the tools to make those tools more powerful for you as you use the tools that are provided to you. So just wanted to send a reminder out there in case you haven't done that recently. It's a good best practice for you to check that every once in a while. So what is Soci? Here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, we provide Soci as a tool that helps you elevate your digital presence, specifically in social media. It's a powerful platform that has a streamlined onboarding process. The great thing about Soci is you already have an account in the Soci platform. All you need to do is access it. And then once you access it, you can then connect Soci to all your different social media tools. So if you use Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can easily connect those social media platforms to Soci. So then you can post to those social media platforms at scale. So think of it like an all-in-one hub that allows you to post to multiple social media networks, all with just a few clicks. You can schedule your social media. You can schedule days, weeks, months out in advance. There's access to a robust library of content that's curated by the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services corporate team. I believe your Fox and Roach team is going to also start populating content within Soci, so you can pull from that. We have a corporate global marketing calendar you can choose to opt into that can be used to supplement your own posts or your own content that you schedule within Soci. Within Soci, you can manage your social media engagement, so you can answer comments, you can respond to comments, you can respond to direct messages right within Soci. You also have access to to analytics and reports that show you how good your posts have been performing, information about the impressions of those posts, sentiment about those posts. You have access to lots of different data over your entire social media sphere, and all those different platforms you connect to within the Soci platform. So what it does, it empowers agents and even your company and your offices with a centralized platform to streamline your social media efforts. You don't have to go into 4 different apps. You don't have to go to 4 different websites to make a post. You can do it all within the Soci platform. So that's probably enough of me talking. You probably want to go and actually see what the system's like. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I'm going to pass it off on to Jenny, so then she can do a demo and walk through the system. Take it away, Jenny.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, let me share. Rajiv, I'm pretending to be you for this demo again. I hope that's okay.
Go for it.
All right. All right. So once you've accessed the Soci platform from your resource center, as Daniel and Rajiv just kind of showed you, this is the first screen that you're going to see. And this is what we call our insights dashboard. So this will always show you a rolling 7 most recent days of information about the social media networks that you have connected. Now, because I'm logged in as Rajiv right now, it's rolling up all of the profiles for all of the locations that are likely on this call with us today. So this is a roll up of that. But if you're an individual agent, you would only see data for the agent profiles that you've connected here to Soci. But it's a good pulse, because really what social media is about, it's become a really popular place where people do searches. So younger generations no longer go to Google or, dare I say, Bing or anything like that. They're actually going right into social media channels to conduct research and to learn and discover new products, new services, learn more about businesses. So it's really important for businesses like you as a real estate agent to have a presence in social media, to actively be posting content so that when somebody happens to land on one of your profile pages, whether it's in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, that they see that you're actively participating in conversations, that you're sharing information, you're providing, not always just talking about yourself and selling, but it's a way for you to have a two-way conversation, to be an expert, a resource for these people when they're looking for information about buying a home, refinancing, whatever it might be that's related to things that you can support them with. Here on the Insights dashboard, again, it gives you a good pulse of who you're talking to. So you can kind of see, okay, over the last 7 days, my reach has gone down a little bit. Maybe that's because I wasn't posting last week. You can see how many pieces of content you have scheduled for your respective social media networks. If something fails, you can see that, and you can know that maybe there's something you need to look deeper into and pay attention to. In social media, it's really important to know who you're talking to. So here you can see the demographics, so male, female, and the age range. We can see that we're skewing to a slightly older audience, pretty evenly split, although it does go more predominantly female. 60% of your people on social media collectively here are from the female demographic. You can keep a pulse on your sentiment. So if you start to see this move from green to red, okay, what did I push out? What's going on my social? What conversation is happening? I might need to pay attention to that. Again, use this as a pulse for how things are going. We can see a heat map. Obviously, we're talking to all of you that are primarily located there in the Northeast. So we see that's where the concentration of activity is happening. And then engagement status. So an engagement is anytime someone interacts with content that you've pushed out on social media. So they like a post, they comment on it, they share it, they retweet it, whatever it might be. All of that, they watch a video, all of that is considered an engagement. So here you can kind of see what's going on there. And again, we'll go deeper into how to interact with each of these next. So let me go into one of the locations here. So there are some of you that have actually connected social media profiles, which I can see here, which is wonderful. As you navigate through the Soci platform, I'm going to kind of key you into a couple of tips that will help you navigate through more easily. So up here at the top, this is what we call a breadcrumb. So you can see if I hover over Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, right now, again, because Rajiv has access to multiple locations, this is where you're at the main account level. I'll show you when we click into a location in a minute, the breadcrumb will change, and you can use this to kind of navigate back and forth as you need to. You're also going to want to pay attention to things here across the top. We have different tabs and information that you can pull, and you'll see that as we go into the different modules here on the left. Right away, I already switched this to show me 100 locations at a time. You can see, you can change this view here. So there's going to be different tools and buttons here that will help you work through the platform more easily. If it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and click into actually Adam Bell here. So I can see when I look at Adam Bell, there's a number 2 here next to his name. That means he's got 2 pieces of content scheduled for his location. I can see that he has Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Instagram connected. For any of the others, it'll show the respective networks that are connected. So I'm going to go ahead and click into Adam Bell's location, and we're going to kind of go through this as an agent. So Adam, if you're on the call, thank you for being a volunteer. All right, so for Adam, here again, because he's got the 4 different networks, actually, yeah, because LinkedIn is not. So 4 different networks connected, I can see his 7-day insights. The other really cool thing that we can do, as long as your page has at least 30 followers, we're going to pull in peak time. So this actually shows you when your audience is most active online. And when we go into the scheduler, this becomes important because you can actually schedule your content to go out and use a peak time button, and it'll go out when your audience is most likely to see that content. So again, we already went through the Insights dashboard. Let's go ahead and go into the social scheduler, which is really, really cool. Again, I think the key things that you want to remember for this platform, it's free for you to use. Your corporate team has already invested in the Soci platform, so there's no additional cost for you. Like Daniel said, you can subscribe to content that your corporate marketing and communications team is pushing out through a community calendar, which we'll talk about next. And you can also schedule your own local content. And I can tell you from all of the research that Soci has done, we know that hyper local content is where people tend to engage at the highest level. So, marketing is a multi-funnel strategy. You've got your brand marketing, you've got your more regionalized marketing, and that hyper local. They all work together. And ultimately, the goal is, again, to foster a relationship with your customers, your prospective customers, to engage in that two-way conversation. And ultimately, you're going to drive more business, more leads for yourself. So when we come into the social scheduler, again, you're going to see I use the left-hand navigation here at the top. And again, I mentioned that breadcrumb. So see how we're in Adam Bell's location. You can see it's now part of that breadcrumb, but I can, I'm at Adam Bell. If I needed to go back to the account level, I could just click the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services piece again, because maybe you're someone that has access to an office and your own agent information. Here at Adam's location at the scheduler level, I can see all of the content that he has scheduled. The first thing that you want to do you log into Soci from your resource center, you're going to want to connect your social media profiles. So it's really easy to do that. These would all be gray like we see with LinkedIn, which is not connected for Adam. So if you had nothing connected, it would automatically bring you to a screen that prompts you to connect your social media networks. It's super easy. Just make sure you're on a computer or a device where you have the ability to log into Facebook or Instagram, because it's going to prompt you to log in, and you'll accept some prompts that give Soci permission to tap into it, and it'll be connected that simple. The next thing you're going to want to do is come into your social scheduler, and you're going to want to find, you can see that because Adam is an agent, he has access to this shared community calendar called Agent Global Headquarters. And he's already done this, which is great. Congratulations. Kudos, Adam. But he toggled this little button over to subscribed. And what that means is that when your corporate marketing communications team pushes out content, they usually do it on a month-to-month basis. And it's typically 2 posts per week. And we can see the posts here. So this was one from Monday of this week. I can see that it was shared from that Agent Global Headquarters shared community calendar. They will push out these posts. A lot of times they point to your blog on the main corporate website. You can see that they use what we call dynamic text. So they put in a code, and it will dynamically populate the website URL for each and every one of your locations. So we can see that here it worked, and it went to Adam Bell's website location here. It brought in his email address. So these are great pieces of content. If you're just not sure where to get started and you're like, how do I talk about myself, Jenny? Subscribe to the agent community calendar first and foremost, because then you'll get that on-brand content, 2 posts per week. It kind of gets you going. The beautiful thing about it too is, let's say we have a post scheduled for tomorrow. I believe this is also from the agent shared calendar. I can see here, there's that dynamic text code. So if you see that, you don't need to edit it. It's going to automatically pull in the website URL that's associated with your profile. Again, all of that managed automatically for you from Daniel. I always forget the name of your data source that comes to Soci, but all of that comes
right.
Resource
Center.
Yeah. So all of that is here for you. But you could go ahead and for tomorrow's post, if you wanted to make any edits to this post that's shared from the community calendar, you can absolutely do that. Just click into the calendar post. You can see it brings up the edit message workflow. Make whatever changes you want. You could change a time or whatever it's gonna, when you want it to go out. You can also drag and drop this. So let's say they've scheduled this to go out tomorrow, but you already have something else planned that you want to communicate tomorrow. You could just simply drag. I don't want to do it, but you could drag it and drop it to any other day on the calendar in the future. So that is the community calendar. So again, that's the simplest way to start getting content on your social media feeds if you're just getting started. Again, the best practice is use the community calendar, the corporate team, and then supplement that with your own localized content. And I know that Brooke has been working, I think she'll be sharing some additional libraries here for more regionalized content for Fox and Roach. So you can look for those, and I'll give her a moment at the end to speak to that. But right now, these are the libraries that have been shared with you from your corporate marketing and communications team. So if you want to just kind of peruse what's available for you, you can go right into the libraries menu here on the left, and you can just kind of scroll through and look for things that might be pertinent to what you want to talk about. So talking real estate agent, I can click into this folder. I can see if there's something that works for me. If I find a post I like, I can go ahead and click on this little calendar icon with the plus in the middle, And what that does is that brings that piece of content from my shared library, and I can go right in to create that message. Again, I can make any edits to the content of it that I would like. I can choose when I want it to go out. I always recommend, again, another best practice is you don't want to be robotic when you're pushing out content. You don't want your post to always go out at exactly 8:00 a.m. on the dot, whatever day you're posting. So there are some tools in here that can help with that. If you click on the menu, the drop down for exact time, you can see I have some buffers. So this might be more applicable to people that are overseeing a group of agents or offices, but you can vary your time plus or minus 45 minutes or whatever time you select. But again, my recommendation is that peak time, because as long as you have at least 30 followers, we can push out that content when your audience is most likely to see it. You also might be asking, what are these tags? So tags down here are different than hashtags. You might see hashtags in some of the content. Here's one actually, GTK article. So that's part of the copy that gets pushed out with your message. These tags are a way for you to organize your content internally. So if you are creating your own library, which you can do, and I'll show you that in a minute, you want to organize your content in a way that you can find it in the future. So maybe you have, new home, just sold, whatever it might be, however you want to categorize it. Think about that in advance, and you can use these tags to help you search for that content in the future. Let's say if I go back to my main libraries, I want to create my own localized library. You can absolutely do that. There's one that gets created for each agent automatically. So we can see Adam Bell already has one, and any of the content that pushes out to that page from the shared community calendar or his own content will automatically get saved in that local folder or library. But if you wanted to create your own and kind of organize in a different way, you can just create the library button here. You would name it. You could use a category. At an agent level, you probably wouldn't share it with anybody, but that's a function that Brooke is going to be utilizing. So you can create it, and then once it's created, it's super easy. I'm just going to pretend that this is the one I just created. Once you have your library created, you can add a message, and you can kind of build out your library in advance if you choose to. You can type your message, upload your photo. You can choose an image from a shared library. You can upload video. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of organize and save yourself time downstream. Let me think about anything else. Scheduler, we talked about the calendar. Again, I can see that all of these are suggested messages. So I could tell that because it had a little, this little alert here. So again, these are posts from the shared agent calendar. So again, he has full flexibility to edit, move those around. You can also use this over here at the right where you have some options from the library. You can easily drag those onto the calendar. So it's super simple. I hope you can see it's pretty easy to use. Keep in mind too, like with any software platform, there's multiple ways to accomplish the same task, because I could click right onto the calendar and you can see I have that create message workflow. Similar to if I were coming in from the library and finding a piece of content, I can schedule it right from there. So there's multiple ways you can go about scheduling out your content. The other thing you're going to want to think about is as you start to become more active with your social media, you want to be alerted. Again, I mentioned a two-way conversation. We don't just want to be shouting out there into the social ecosystem. We want to be listening to what people are saying with us and talking to us. So the way that I would encourage you to do that is if you come into the notifications menu, you can click on the little email icon here at the top right, and you can create a subscription. And now Rajiv, again, because he has access to so many locations and groups, if you're just an agent with one location, you would just select your location. And we can set up these notifications so that Soci would send you an email notification anytime this activity happens. So engagements, you might want to click in that. Let's say somebody comments on something, they mention you, maybe they send you a private message, whatever it might be. Maybe they ask you a Google My Business question, an Instagram comment, mention, direct. You can select whatever items you want to receive the notification for. And then you can choose how frequently you want to be notified. Maybe you want it immediately. That could mean multiple emails a day. if you get a lot of comment and dialogue, which would be a great problem to have, or you can choose maybe a daily digest and you can choose what time of day you want to receive that notification. Our best practice, again, is just making sure you're engaging, responding to comments and reviews and things like that within 24 hours is a typical best practice. And then you would just click create. So that's a way for you to be notified when people are engaging with the content that you're pushing out there. Another important area that I want to show you are conversations, because we just talked about getting alerts about them, but where do you go to manage them? Again, that's the simplicity of this platform. Is if you're like Adam and you're pushing out content to Facebook and to Twitter and to Google and to Instagram, you would have to go to each of those platforms to see all of your messages and comments and things. But with Soci, we bring all of that into one place for you, so it's more simplified. So again, you come into conversations and I click on engagements. And this is where, again, you've got tabs across the top to pay attention to. So all engagements, comments, private messages, negative. You can use these filters here if you're looking for something particular, you know, based on the sentiment or which network it might have come in from, also what time frame you're looking at. And this would bring all of that up. And now if he had any engagements that he needed to respond to, those would show up here, and over on the right, you would see a respond button. So you could easily click into the respond button and type your response, and it would send it right through to that respective platform. The last thing I want to show you, actually two more things, reports. So each of you at an agent level have access to what we call our local social report. So here you can customize this, which is really nice. So you can see if I scroll down on the left, I have all of these options. And again, the options will vary depending on what social media networks you have connected to your location in Soci. So you can select whichever fields you want here from the left to customize your report. You can change your date range. But over here at the right, you can see this is another great way. Again, social media is really, it moves really fast. There's a lot of conversations happening. It is perfectly acceptable to post to Facebook and Instagram on a daily basis, sometimes even more than once a day. If you are posting to a Google search profile, that frequency, I would say maybe once a week is sufficient. It's not the same audience and the behavior is a little bit different.
Hey, Jenny, talking about Google Business, can you kind of expand a little bit on what type of content should get posted to that?
Sure. Yeah, and I'll go back to that in just a moment.
All right, thank you.
But anyway, there's a lot of conversation happening, and it's important as someone that's creating content and pushing it out, you want to make sure you're paying attention, and maybe you see a type of post that you push out that gets a lot more likes and comments than the post you did last week. Well, that makes me want to think, okay, what did I do differently in this post? I need to create more content like that. So these tools in this report will give you a sense of what's performing well, what you might need to tweak or adjust for next time to try to get more engagement, but it'll kind of highlight some of your top performing posts and things. So I would encourage you to kind of set up your report. You can also download it or send it to your email. So it's a great tool to help you pay attention to what's going on at your location. Back to Daniel's point on Google. So yes, and Adam does have Google connected, so we can use that as a great example here. So we actually just released some new functionality here over the last week. And Daniel, I don't even know if you've seen this yet, where you can post an update, which is just an image and some copy or content to go with it. You know, proud to serve the Pittsburgh area, Fox and Road, you know, whatever you want to say there, just kind of, and I can show you maybe an example of where that would show up in a Google search listing. You can post a special offer. He would give it a title, a message, or you could do an event. And that kind of aligns with the content strategy you want to deploy when you're thinking about social. Facebook is kind of anything goes. It's very friendly. You can share a lot of human stories, personal, you know, you got your first time home buyer, your forever home buyer, whatever it might be. Those are great stories to share. People love connecting with people. And so the more you can highlight the human element of your business, I'd say those posts usually perform really well. Twitter is very brief, concise. It moves really quick. You don't have to have an image. It's really rapid fire, you know, for quick updates, maybe new listings and such. Instagram is very visual and kind of a visual storytelling. Video works really well here. Again, a lot of similar content to what you might put on Facebook, but remember with Instagram, you can't have any links in the copy. So in your message, where on Facebook, we can maybe point to your website blog or include an email. On Instagram, even if you're active on a personal feed, you know that you always have to go to the link in bio to go anywhere. You can't click on anything in the actual copy. So keep that in mind as you're curating your content. Google is really more about product launches, what's new, events. Think of things in kind of that vein. It's not where you would share everyday content and all of the frequency that you would post on the other channels, but it's more time bound, more of a sense of urgency there. And it can be a really helpful tool, again, for the segment of the users that do go to Google to search for information. If you do have a Google search profile, it's a great way, and it'll show up right in the feed. So you might see, the name, address, phone, you might see questions and answers, and then you'll see from the owner, and that's where these posts show up in the feed there. So hopefully that helps, Daniel. Excuse me. The last thing that I want to show you is where you can get support. And Daniel will, when I'm done here, he'll show you a couple more slides that have a lot of the resources that are available within your resource center. But we also have a bunch available right within the Soci platform. You do have to be logged in, and you can click right up here at the support center. And this brings you to our customer success portal. Soci University is a place where we have a large library of on-demand training videos that show you some of them are 2 to 3 minutes long. They're very specific on how to do different tasks within the Soci platform. I love our knowledge base. This is just a bunch of articles that have how-to instructions, screenshots. So for you guys, clicking right into the social, you can see all of the different articles that you have here at your fingertips. So about community calendar, how to subscribe to a community calendar. So this will give you exactly what we talked through today, how to subscribe. So there's a lot of great resources here for you as well if you're ever getting stuck. But I think your first line of defense, and Daniel, I'm going to stop sharing and turn this over to you, is your customer success team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Right. Rajiv, do you guys usually do first line of support with your own CST, or do you prefer them to go to our CST?
I think we should, for this particular one, they should just go to your CST.
Okay, yeah. So if you do have any questions about using Soci or any of the tools that are offered within Resource Center directly, you can always access the customer success team, the CST here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. They're open Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific. Their phone number is 855-422-9052, or you can email them at bhssupport@hsfranchise.com. In addition to that, when you are in Resource Center, there's a chat bubble, I believe in the top right corner or bottom right corner, and you can chat with the CST right there within Resource Center as well. Did we go over the tips and stuff, Jenny?
Rajiv covered them on that first doc.
Yeah, he has that slide, the information that he was going to provide the team. So this is probably pretty good. This is just kind of just following up on that, just reminding you, 2-factor authentication enabled, location services, and there's just some little things that you may run into. There's a lot of support articles within Soci under support as well that'll help you with many of the questions you may have when you're connecting your social media accounts. Yeah, I think we answered most of the questions as we were going through. Were there any outstanding Q&A questions? I don't see any.
Looks like we're in a good spot. You answered quite a few of them, Daniel, as Jenny was going through it. And I think as Jenny was going through it, some of the agents that were on the call were probably thinking, oh my, this is a pretty comprehensive platform. And I always give the analogy that, look, you don't have to digest all of it. I think you want to look at the end result, which is trying to be more efficient with social media versus just kind of throwing stuff on the wall to see what sticks. This gives you sort of a good platform for you to streamline your social media. Again, you can automate relationships, but you got to have a foundation. And so she provides you that foundation. And the other thing that Jenny alluded to is we have Jenny, do you mind going back in there and showing some of our libraries? I know you lean on Brooke, but I would love for you to sort of show that piece of it. And I'll show you that we're going to populate it. Brooke already has put all the videos there, but we want to put some copies. So go under that brand videos right there. So some of you have seen these videos, and we're going to give you all of these videos, and they're branded to Fox and Roach, as you'll see there. And we're going to give you these videos, and within a single click, you can send these videos, actual video, not a link to a video, to your social platforms. So we're going to try to create the copy also to go with it, so you don't have to think of what to write there. And that'll be in place by the end of the week. So you can schedule these fun videos. We're also going to put all the 22 community tours we have for across the company here. All the evergreen content that Fox and Roach creates will be available. So not just what Jenny shared, you can schedule other things to go to your social platforms. So just want to point that out. So that will be available. The videos are already there, but there's no copy to go with it in a social post, but Brooke's going to take care of that by the end of the week. So.
And Rajiv, I'd like to just reiterate, I've worked with franchising for the last 20 plus years. So I echo what Rajiv said. Don't feel like you have to do all of these things all at the same time. Maybe you're just getting started with social. Start with Facebook. It's where your largest audience is. Get your legs underneath you and feel confident in what you're doing on Facebook, and then worry about creating profiles on the other channels as you get more comfortable. I always say you can crawl, walk, run. Don't try to sprint right out of the gate. So hopefully these tools will help you to kind of get more comfortable. Again, the easiest thing to do is subscribe to that community calendar from the corporate marketing communications team. That'll just start getting content going out to your pages. Then you can start to use some of the content that Brooke and Rajiv have just shared or will be sharing by the end of the week that's more regional based for you. And then you can layer in your own content on top of that. But again, please know that that's perfectly normal to feel that way. And you can start small and work your way up.
Very well said. Very well said. So anything else, Daniel, Jenny? We're ahead of schedule, which is awesome. We never are ahead of schedule on webinars, you know?
Let's see. There's another Q&A question.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
nothing
covered
else.
all of the key points that I wanted to cover. Again, hopefully it gives you a glimpse into the tool, and it really is intended to help you be more efficient. Your ability to schedule out your content in advance. You know, I was at a conference just this last week, and a lot of their franchisees, they schedule it. They take about 2 hours every month, and they schedule out their content for the month. And then all they have to do after that is just make sure they're paying attention to the comments and engagements that are coming in. So it's intended to help streamline and save you time ultimately downstream.
Let me add another plugin for BHHS Connect, which is our CRM that we've launched, powered by KV Core. So those of you that have your database in there, there's a very cool feature. So if the database, like say I have Daniel in there with his email address, and if his email address is the same email address he uses for LinkedIn or Facebook or any of the social channels, it actually gives you the link for Daniel's social profiles inside of Connect. So remember, you can connect with your clients through BHHS Connect. So whatever you're posting is reaching more people, right? So I'm going to do a little bomb video for all of you on upcoming Monday to kind of tee you up on that feature. But the more people you're connected to, the more people see your content as well. So just want to point that out. But Daniel and Jenny, thank you for hopping on and getting us Soci'd up, for lack of a better word. And we will hear more success stories around using this platform to streamline social media for our agents. So thank you so much for both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great
Take care.
day.
Bye-bye.